Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Luminary Leaders Live. My name is Shelly Harrison and I'm your host. And today I have a great topic with a very well-respected woman that you'll meet in just a moment. I want to just welcome our audience. We are streaming live in the Global Women's Networking Group as well as YouTube. And this particular episode will also be available all on downloading with iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of your favorite podcast apps. So when you're working out, you can absolutely listen to this and you're going to want to. So without further ado, I want to bring on my guest today. And today I want to welcome Deanna Bivins. Hello there. And I'm so honored to have you here today.
Beautiful, Shelly. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And, I just want to say, let our audience know that we have a mutual friend who introduced us, Lisa Reed. We want it from Get Speaking Gigs Now. So, Lisa, we're giving you a shout out, my dear. I've known you for a long time, and you've been wonderful introducing me to amazing people like Deanna Bivins. And, I want to get into this from the perspective of, you have a tremendous background, Deanna Bivins, in self-defense and different types of modalities like that. And I really want to get started there. So give us an idea of, and we'll start actually with your title, Deanna Bivins. So let's start there.
All right, you got it. So we'll back up in a minute, but to get to where took 44 years, but I was promoted probably like 5 years ago to 7th degree black belt. So I made history becoming a 6th degree, but 7th degree goes from, a lot of people know the word sensei.
Yeah.
Because of different movies. But Deanna is not, no one knows what that means. So it's normally a man's name. So my instructor was saying, we're getting ready to promote you. You've worked your butt off. You've put up with all my whatever BS and through the years, right? And then so the joke was, it's a man's name. And I'm like, Deanna, really? And he's like, really? I'm like, just saying. So
yeah, makes sense, right?
I made history like top 40 in the world.
Oh, congratulations.
I was a 7th degree black belt.
Wow. That is fascinating, because I know back in the day, and I had shared with you, my brother was a 3rd degree black belt, and he passed away last October. But he took it very serious, and he was training very early on. And I took a Taekwondo class with him, and I know the dedication, the discipline, and not only that, the benefits of doing that kind of work. So, with that, let's talk about self-defense and how you help women and men with this type of I guess you would call it an art, right? An art.
Yeah, being at it for so many, a lot of years, so that the audience understands, how I got here. But self-defense is not about just striking and hitting people. It's also a mental game also. And where our world has shifted in these last few years, a lot of things have happened, Shelly, with people being all walks of life, but women, sexual assault, domestic violence, narcissistic. Again, it's always been there. It's the level that it's gone to that has literally, I've talked to quite a few women in my career, especially in the last couple of years. It's like out of control because of what happened with our world.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see it more and more. I know there was a situation last night, and it was on Facebook, and it was in my local area, and somebody, and it's a place that I go to, and it's a grocery store, and it was later in the evening, and a young woman was followed by a man who was in a vehicle and followed her home. And, she put it on social media and made it very clear just to be careful, letting everybody know. And situations like that could really go wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I'm seeing, and it's and a lot of people are seeing it that are more conscious to pay attention. So you have your self-awareness of yourself. So I'm very self-aware of how I looking at you right now, regardless of the camera. I know my expressions, everything. And this is something I learned through my career. I also know about, your peripheral visions and your surroundings. And right now, I'm just saying, I don't care who we are, male, female, kids, whatever. No one's paying attention because they're on their phones 24/7, or they have
Yes.
earbuds in
Oh
their
my
ear.
gosh.
And so what people don't realize is there's over 500 million predators online
Oh my
looking and
goodness.
watching for that vulnerable person. Let's say, and let's talk about the women in this group right now. So
Yeah.
it's not about how pretty you look. It comes down to how you're carrying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I can share with you numerous stories of clients of mine from all walks of life that
Yeah.
things happen to them. And I've had my own things happen to me, not knowing that I'm a badass in this outfit.
Which is very stunning, by the way. It's very official with your
My mom
keys.
said I was
That's
in
awesome.
red. Thanks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's the women to pay attention, be aware of
Mm-hmm.
things that you're seeing and what you're doing when you're out there, your
Yeah.
surroundings, even if you married, not married, a significant other, it doesn't matter. It's how you
Mm-hmm.
carry yourself, shoulders down, back, again, not paying attention to certain things, and then what you're willing to put up with in
Yeah.
your own personal life. I have lady friends of mine they're in domestic violence, or they're in
Mm.
narcissistic relationships, and they're just like, I don't know how to get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's up to you.
That's right. And there are steps that they can take to get out of those
Right.
types of relationships,
Yes, and they have
toxic
to.
relationships.
Yes, and they have to be
Yeah.
open to be speaking up about it, and they've got to be confident to realize they've got to stop this from happening on their own.
Oh,
And learning what to do if you have to strike somebody, if you have to put a move in. I make it very clear it's not about, my background, kicking and punching like that. It's the strikes that you can deliver.
mm-hmm.
I don't care how big the person is, that I can drop somebody just from a little elbow move or a little strike with this.
Yeah.
That people go, really? And I'm like, yeah, you don't need to be some kind of professional background of me.
Right. Or the same size as the other person. It's all about kind of mind over matter if you're focused on taking them down before they get you.
Exactly. It's that
Yeah.
observation on, they always, when I was growing up, it was always, action's faster than reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So if your action is slow, you're not paying attention, and then all of a sudden the action comes at you, then you're late for the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, I love that you talked about the peripheral vision because I think a lot of people, they're so like they're either looking at their phone or they're getting their keys out, in their purse. And that's so easy for someone just to say, grab them and push them in their car or whatever. But really, it's important to just know your surroundings,
Yep.
kind of assess as soon as you walk out a door. I'm always looking to the left, to the right, just making sure, because anybody, like you said, anybody could be, a victim of this kind of stuff. And
Exactly. And
yeah,
that's the thing to pay attention to. And when you're out there, there's certain tips that I give in my classes for, ladies to pay attention to, or people in
yeah,
general. Just when
yeah.
you go out your car, I'm known as the backup queen. Everywhere I go, I back up. There's an interesting story behind that. And then when I
Oh,
share that, people are like, wow. And it's a very
mm,
serious story that happened to an employee of mine years ago.
wow.
And I share that story, and they're like, oh, okay, that's why you back up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So what can you give us like a cliff note of what that is and what that means to back up?
well, to keep it tight and simple,
Mm-hmm.
she was leaving my office, was going home. And if you know, when you drive into your garage, there's sensors when the
Right.
garage door goes up. So
Yeah.
what happened is she didn't know that this person had been following her from another incident at my office, because she was attacked by this person before.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so the second incident, he was following her for 6 months. So anyways, what happened? She drove in. He walked over the line. So he
Oh.
walked over the sensor. She didn't know that. So when she
Mm.
drove in, she pushed the button for the garage to close. And so when she opened the door, Shelly, he was right there.
Oh my gosh.
Beat her. I mean, there's a lot that happened there
I could imagine.
that was
Wow.
Not good.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So the backup means if you know you're being followed, to back up. So go in, back out.
No, what it means
No.
when I back into my garage, I back into parking lots because
Oh,
I
got
can
it.
see what's in front of me.
Okay.
I can see
Yeah.
what's in front of me. I can look left, right. People see
Ah,
me where I live.
okay.
They're like, "You're always backing up." And I've
Yeah.
had clients in my career start to do that. And it's just another way. I learned it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I still do it. So crazy,
And
but
and that
true.
makes sense, because then you could visually see what's going on, and even when you get in your car, you could see what's in front of you. That's a great point, and that could be the small little detail that could save a
Yeah,
life, really.
exactly.
Thank you for sharing that here, and I think hopefully a lot of the women that are in this group can, relate to that and say, "You know what? If I would have done that, it could have, helped me from getting, fill in the blank."
Right. And the other
Wow.
thing that I really stress on when you're out somewhere and if you're shopping, you're at the mall, wherever you love to go, I am
Mhm.
known for going, if I see you and I see your name tag or not see your name tag, I'll be like, "Hi there." And you're gonna be like, "Hello." And I'll say something like, "I love your hair." Oh,
Yeah.
all right. So anywhere I go and I travel, I've done it for years.
Yeah.
I will catch people off guard to realize now that person, let's say that person is like, "Hey, ain't mess with her then. I'm going to mess with the person maybe over there, or whatever." But
Yeah.
it's enough to go, "Hey, how are you? Good afternoon." I say names in stores. I know all the checkers in my store. They're like, "You're so cool. How
Mm.
do you do that? Why do you do that?"
Yeah.
And then I explain why, and it catches that predator, somebody off guard,
Mhm.
not knowing again what I look like this when I go out.
Yeah. That says a lot, and again, being aware of the surroundings, and I know that you offer workshops. So let's talk about the workshops a little bit, because I know you could do these workshops for corporate, companies, you do this for women and different groups. And that we also talked a little bit about the new, well, not so new anymore, but the movie that came out,
Yeah.
The Sound of Freedom. And I think that, because that has such great reviews. But let's talk about some of this.
You got it. So
Yeah.
in my lifetime, I started in the martial arts, so the audience understands. I'm 58, so back when I was 12. So 46 years I've been in the martial arts.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah.
for me, it's, I've been bullied. I was bullied as a kid, as bullied as I got older. I've been
Mhm.
bullied recently, something that happened. So
Oh
you
my
just
goodness.
never know where something's going to come at you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I teach, and I've done it for quite a few years, corporate bullying. I do speaking
Mm.
gigs to talk with the HR and then have the team come together in this uniform. It really catches the attention of which I always call the team, the employees, to go, "Okay, I'm going to listen to this lady." And
Yeah.
it's got to communicate to one another. Then you have, bullying with the youths, so that you've got the Sound of Freedom. That was a huge thing
Mhm.
we can talk about other time, but sex trafficking,
Yeah.
things like that, it's going on there. And
Which
then,
is another huge problem
yeah, it's a
for
whole
our
other topic.
humans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whole other
It's a
topic.
whole different topic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then women, if you've seen the movie Bombshell or She Said, that's the true story of the
Hmm.
sexual harassment and sexual assault.
God.
And I've been sexually harassed numerous times in my career.
Hmm.
Someone's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Again, no one knows what I can do.
Right, right. And it's not like you're going to wear your black belts, out when you're out in public, but if they were to, do something, I mean, you could probably take them down, I would imagine,
And you have
with
what's called
your
your critical
training.
distance. Yeah, you have what's called your critical distance zone. So I always teach in my classes, your distance zone is your arm length. So as soon
Mm,
as someone gets in that space, I don't care if it's male or female,
yeah.
I get nervous. I turn sideways a little bit. Yes, I
Mm,
teach this in the classes. But yeah, so
yeah.
corporate bullying in my self-defense classes for women. That's a special topic that is, women's topics only, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, kids and youth because of what's happened with the Sound of Freedom.
Oh, wow. And I know that we have your website that's streaming on the bottom. So I hope that people are taking a picture of your website so that they can visit you. And maybe you can share, because we are, audio too on the podcast app. So could you tell us the website so that if people are listening, they know where to go?
Absolutely. So it's Elevate selfdefense.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I named it that because you want to elevate your surroundings, elevate your awareness, elevate your defense, or just elevate your life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And, if we're almost coming to the end of the broadcast, Shihan Bivins, and I would love for you to just kind of, today, when women are out and about, what is it that they can do just to take one little step to protect themselves? If they don't have any, self-defense training or any kind of, black belts like you, what can they do?
You don't need to have a black belt. It's just being aware, make
Mm,
sure you are doing some kind of, doesn't have to be athletic fitness, but keeping yourself strong, posture up, eye
get
contact,
it straight.
speaking up.
Mhm.
Don't shy and put the head down. If you're in an uncomfortable situation, that's where you need to even pop even more. It's that superhero I talk about.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. And ladies that are watching or that will be watching, please make sure that you go back to the beginning of this broadcast and reach out to Shihan Bivins because she does a lot of workshops. And we have the website streaming at the bottom. And for those that want to know how to reach you, aside from your website, I know that you have a Facebook page where you do a lot of live video.
Yeah.
And can we talk about that for a second? And then, definitely we want to have you back, to share more because there's so much we can talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So Facebook is where, a lot of us started, different generation. So I have a huge following on
Yeah.
there. So Facebook is just Deanna Bivins. I don't have my Shion title. So it's just Deanna Bivins. You'll see me in the red uniform and you'll see a banner of me. And I have a lot of people interacting with that. I'm on different reels, Facebook reels. I'll do some
Yeah.
live content with some video stuff. And people are watching it going, oh my gosh, how do you get out
Yeah.
of a car? How do someone grabs you from behind? Little simple things we just don't realize that can happen so fast. So quick.
It can, and in a split second,
Yeah.
and it's violating, it puts us in a very vulnerable situation, men or women,
Yeah.
it could happen to anyone.
Oh yeah.
Really
You know,
could.
as we've been on this broadcast, there's a rape every 5 minutes. There's a sexual
Oh
assault
my
every
gosh.
21 seconds. There's a violent
Oh,
crime every 30 seconds. Just why we've been on here.
gosh, that's awful, when you really think about it. And just being aware of your surroundings and being, like you said, even if you talk with people and you call them by name, it's something that personalizes the situation. So maybe, people will see that, hey, you're pretty outgoing, it's not likely that they're gonna, come do something, or I would imagine, the
Yeah, no,
more,
absolutely. And just
yeah.
use your peripheral visions. A lot of people don't know
Mhm.
how to use peripherals. I teach that a lot in my classes. And people trip out on what I can see as I'm staring at them.
Oh, I bet. I
Like,
bet.
you can see that? I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh, wow. So,
Yeah. Yeah, because that, you can only see so much on your peripheral vision, but you can also sense when someone's around you or the sound or listening to, noises that really can help you to determine if there's someone close by.
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. Well, Shihan Bivins, this was absolutely needed in this group with women everywhere, really. And I appreciate your time coming on the show. And this will be shared out. We'll have it on all the podcast apps.
Nice.
And people can catch you at your website. Again, it's scrolling on the bottom, so we definitely want people to be able to reach out to you, take a workshop, if and the cost is well worth it. I
Yeah.
think that, any kind of self-defense training women can get, it's important. Even if it's just one, that's all it takes is just, really to be aware of what's out there and resources that can help us.
Well, and you
Yeah.
can't put a price on your well-being.
You really can't. Or for our protection,
That's what I mean.
and being able
Yeah,
to protect ourselves when we're by
correct.
ourselves and, we're being someone's near. That's
Yeah,
not so nice.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Well,
Awesome.
all right. Well, we appreciate you being on the show, and we want to thank our audience for tuning in to Luminary Leaders Live. And again, we had Deanna Bivins on today. She is a 7-degree black belt. She does all kinds of workshops. She has a Facebook page that she does a lot of education talking about self-defense. So please check her out and stay connected. And we want to thank you for joining us today. And we will catch you next time. Thank you.